Hey everybody, registration is now open for our 7th annual summit. Is that right, Peter? Our 7th?
7th.
That's crazy. So
great.
This time at the beautiful JW Marriott Camelback in Scottsdale, Arizona. You can immerse yourself in innovation, inspiration, unite your team, which is most important, and at the same time, earn 16 CE credits. Renew your practice, transform your life, June 14th and 15th. Registration's now open. Don't delay. These things always sell out. This one will as well. Go to bulletproofsummit.com. 2 days that will redefine your practice life. We guarantee it.
Here we are. This is going to be a timely pod for all the shit that's going on in the world. Is that an interesting, catchy title?
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Got us on here.
This is a sometimes in life.
Too.
What?
Short notice this
Yeah,
pod.
it was like, hey guys, join a pod today. I'm going to blow your mind, kind of thing. Like, who would not join that, right? All right. So, guys, I feel like sometimes we are living in simulations. Does anyone else feel that way?
I don't.
Okay.
Like
Dwight?
Matrix style?
Yeah. Red pill, blue pill? No? Okay. Anyway, just me. So, a couple updates, and then we're going to go into the topic today. But it's a big day yesterday. Does anyone know that Roaring Kitty is back in the scene?
Roaring Kitty is back.
Craig, do you know who Roaring Kitty is?
Hey guys, I'm gonna go grab lunch and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, seriously, beat it, Boomer.
No, I don't know. I'm just Roaring Kitty. I have to Google this shit now.
No, oh my God. All right. Anyway, the GameStop saga is back. It's been halted again now 7 times today. The stock, the GameStop and the movie theater, right? So that's something interesting. This election, I think in election years, we're going to experience just a tremendous amount of crazy, like I live in a simulation kind of thing. They're always just wild. And I can't wait to see all the stuff that starts happening in the next 4 months. But that is not why we're here. There was a big announcement yesterday and it was a game changer. Today, we are going to talk about AI and its advancements and the half-life of what's happening. And so, Craig, I'm going to pause there and let you leave if you'd like. Leave the pod, or you can stay. Here's your opportunity.
No,
or
I'm
you can
intrigued.
stay and
I'm
let
intrigued.
me educate you and keep you up to date as your AI doula.
You're my, I don't like
life.
the doula. You're my AI consigliere.
Yes,
how's that?
consigliere. There we go.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a little bit more
So,
Godfather.
do you guys know what happened yesterday? Anyone?
No.
So they launched.
Mercury's in retrograde?
No. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done. I'm good. Keep going.
All right.
I know he's gonna hit the end.
There's gonna be
finger on it.
I have 11 little things I need to go over today, guys. So
11.
so Craig, I'm gonna need your banter to a minimum.
Yep, done.
So yesterday they launched GPT 4.0. 4.0 stands for O stands for Omni. Okay, so bear with me. All right. So this is another step closer to the AGI, which is going to be scary. This is what everyone fears, and we are freaking close. So on my list of things to do is just announce that. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen and just show you where we are with that. Okay. So basically the model has a lot more capabilities. I'm about to go into these capabilities here and show you some examples. So let me go to that now. New screen. You guys add some commentary here, so I'm not just the magician doing tricks up here.
Okay, so no comments, but now you want comments, right?
That's true.
I'm just trying to follow you.
Shut up. No, it's talk.
Yeah,
Keep up.
talk.
You gotta stay on the ball.
Right.
That's
Follow the
Keep the
bouncing ball.
comment to the minimum.
All right,
but
here
feel
we go.
free to comment.
Yeah.
All right,
Too
so
much talk.
demo number 1. Okay, so I've always said that AI is going to disrupt education in a good way. And it's done now. I actually showed my daughter this today and she said, "Why do I have to go to school, Dad?" Ready for this demo?
In this format,
Hello there. I'm here with my son, and I'd love you to tutor him on this math problem, but don't give him the answer. You can ask questions and nudge him in the right direction, but I really want to make sure he understands it himself. And he's here in the room, so you can talk to him directly.
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Let's look at the problem together. Can you first identify which sides of the triangle are the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse? relative to angle alpha?
All right, so I'm pretty sure this is the angle alpha right here, right?
Perfect. That's correct. Now, looking at the triangle, which side do you think is the hypotenuse?
Really,
Remember the hypotenuse?
I'm not totally sure. I think it might be this one, but
I'm not going to play
am
the
not
whole
sure.
thing.
This side AC.
You're close. Actually, side AC is called the adjacent side to the angle alpha. The hypotenuse is...
Okay. So you get
Peter,
enough.
you could train it to be like, "Hey, dumbass," or "numbnut," so you could make it more like Pete specific.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Like,
so
what does Pete want for
here's the
his
breakthrough.
children?
Here's the breakthrough. For you guys, we can have a joke. We can have a different podcast where you guys can make jokes about the technology that's about to disrupt all of you guys.
This is amazing.
But this is a breakthrough. And why is it a breakthrough? Is because the difference is now it sees what's on screen. It sees what's on screen and can tutor you in live feedback mode, as well as it has access to the camera. So it's able to identify things that are going on. So extrapolate this, looking at.
Help me understand the camera though. So I understood he was tracing.
Hold on, I'm going to go show you. I'm going to show you that in a second too with another demo. But yes, this was just the screen. So the GPT 4.0 was watching the screen that was happening on the screen and giving feedback from he's drawing on a pencil. Okay. So that's one example of the trend of the things that are going on. The next one.
By the way, I just want to tell you that it's a little bit relevant for me. That activity, that action button on my iPhone is now voice prompt GPT for the last 3 weeks or 3 months, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't, no more weather, no more Siri, no more Alexa, nothing. And it's getting, it's so much better as an interactive tool.
100%. I asked it, I was grilling the other night and I was like, dude, how do you make a baked onion without having to go through 114 web pages of like the recipe? And it just fucking told me. I was like, yes. Okay, ready? Next example. This is dental applicable. So that one was dental applicable, but there's kind of 3 steps in between that. So where I'm going with that last example was imagine that training. Imagine putting on the new the vision goggles from Apple, which Apple is now getting this technology in phones. And so we are steps away from augmented training in dentistry, in real life, and everyone can have a PhD tutor in their pocket now, right? Or a doctorate tutor in their pocket at scale. So it disrupts that. Next example is this. Here we go. Let's do this. And this is, you guys will see the dental example in a second. And here we go. Oh, is it, the sound's not working? Is it, boys?
No,
can you hear the sound?
No, we don't hear it. No.
No sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn the sound on.
Well, I'm just thinking while you're getting at the load, imagine uploading your x-rays into a Pearl AI, open source Pearl AI for the public. So I want to get a second opinion. Let me get my x-rays and then uploading them. Pearl AI only interfaces in a dental office. What's to stop them from like, hey, consult your regular dentist, but feel free to upload your virtual second opinion here.
100%. There's no limits to this kind of thing, Craig.
But it should be consumer facing, not just dentist facing, right?
Well, here is a load. It's not, I don't know why there's no sound on this. Okay. Well, I'll just
tell us what's going down.
Yeah. So I'll explain it. The guy has, this is called the customer service proof of concept. And so it kind of goes back to remember I was talking about call centers and how kind of that's a pain point in dentistry. This guy has 2 phones out in this demonstration. One is saying, hey, I have this problem. The other one is acting as the customer service rep, and he's letting the 2 AIs talk to each other. And he's like, hey, I have a broken phone. Can you get a new one sent to me and explain to them? And then he auto delegates that to them and demonstrates it live. And I'll have to show you this.
That's wonderful. It reminds me of the time that people call 2 Chinese restaurants and have the phones talking to each other. But yeah, it's AI against AI. It's amazing. I'd love to see that. Maybe put a link in the show notes for that just to see it.
Yeah, I know. I really need to get it. I need to get it going, Craig. But
let's hear if that. Unmute that one.
what is the end result? Is the issue resolved well?
Is the issue what?
Resolved.
Like the customer.
Yes. It gets to completion. Yeah, and I'm going to have a live example here today too. But it gets to completion. It was highly, as you see now, the new interface is that ball, right? And you see the ball moving in the new GPT. So yes, it takes it all the way to completion with address and information and hangs up the call. Okay. Sorry that didn't work. I kind of tested everything and sometimes you have problems.
So
Okay.
so let's prognosticate this just for 1 second. When does this interface with the API in our practice management softwares and we no longer really need a call center until it's confused? So when is it like 85-90% of the calls are able to be handled with AI?
It's
When?
I know of software companies that are in beta of it right now. I'll kind of get to that in a little bit, Craig. It's not, I would not say 2024, but definitely 2025.
Okay, because right now, just my personal experience is the app on Starbucks and the app on wherever all the things that you order, fast food or whatever, is a far better UX than talking to somebody. So I've gone to a Starbucks meeting where I'm sitting down with a person. There's a line at the counter. I don't want to go through the speaking, and I like to meet people. I'm a social person, but I'd rather hit reorder because it has my 2% milk and my splash of cinnamon and blah blah blah, and hit that and just sit at the counter and pay with the app. Because then I'm also not tipping, number one. Like you don't have to ask for a 20, 25, 45% tip. It's just going to happen on your app. They don't ask for a tip there. And I'd rather not deal with them. So when is it that you don't have to deal with somebody to make the appointment? That's going to be so much more. It's going to be so much more efficient. And for those living in states that have minimum wages that are creeping up to mid-20s or whatever it is, I mean, how could you afford not to use this?
Okay, thank you for that. You bought me time, and here we go.
You fix it.
The new iPhone they sent me isn't working. I want you to get them to send me a replacement device. Can you take care of this for me?
You can count on me, Joe. I got this.
Ring, ring.
Hey, Joe. This is Jamie from Acme Telco. How can I help you out today? Hi there. I'm calling on behalf of Joe, who recently received a new iPhone from Acme Telco. But oh, got it. When did Joe receive the new iPhone? The iPhone was delivered 2 days ago. Cool. Could you share the order number with me? Of course. It's 10293-849. Great, thanks. Is the device physically damaged in any way? No, there's no physical damage. It's
Okay, so you guys get the point, and we already kind of talked about it. Let me go to the
We'll
next
get to the
example.
end. Just play the last 10 seconds. I want to hear what the resolution is. Let's just hear this if you don't.
Anything else you need help with? That's all for now. Thanks again. You're welcome.
Okay, so there was just completion of the process problem.
Amazing, right?
All right, and so everyone, if you're listening, I know this is a dental podcast, but think about you as a human, you as a in your family getting things done, you as your team. Look past the example of just that example, and then extrapolate that into dentistry because it will permeate here soon. All right, so this one is interesting. It's not so much a dental example, but it blew me away and really got me excited. And then I'm going to tell you something else that happened as a lead indication of this example in the stock market. All right, let me go to this. Okay, ready? Let's see if this works.
Hey, ChatGPT. I'm here with my coworker today. We'd like you to act as our translator for us. So every time I say something in English, can you repeat it back in Spanish? And every time he says something in Spanish, can you repeat it back in English?
Sure, I can do that.
Watch
Let's
this.
get this translation train rolling.
Wow.
Hey, how's it been going? Have you been up to anything interesting recently?
Hola, ¿cómo te ha ido? ¿Has hecho algo interesante últimamente?
Hola, bien. Sí, un poco ocupado aquí preparando un evento para la semana que viene.
Hey, I've been good. Just a bit busy here preparing for an event next week.
Can you tell me anything about it? That sounds really interesting.
¿Me puedes contar algo sobre eso?
Okay. So a little bit, right? There's a little bit of latency, a little bit of lag. Yes, it would take longer in your communications, but oh my God, right? To the point of like, that makes me want to go travel to places that I've been scared to travel potentially.
Let me add something too with this. So imagine the call center idea, right? Rather than that stupid thing that we all have on our phones, at least I do, press 1 for blank, blank, blank. You're now dealing with a hello, how are you? And then if you speak like, hey, do you speak Spanish? Yeah, see, of course I do, in Spanish or whatever. It's automatically or on the fly. Feel free. Thank you for calling Spodak Dental Group. Feel free to speak in your native language if you prefer. So imagine that.
You can't see this.
Yeah, Duolingo. Yeah,
Duolingo stock is down 27% in the last 5 days at the launch of this.
This is live, right?
This
is live.
This is live data.
Yeah, hit one day. I want to see what's happening right now.
Well, it already took the beating yesterday. You can see it at the end because it came out. So
look at the price to earnings ratio. People believed in this. This is valued like a tech stock. There's a tech stock 186 times.
This trends to zero over time, right? So
of course it does.
You are 1 degree of separation from a technological disruption that is taking you out of business, right? The tutor business is now. So this was a language business. Now a tutor business is disrupted, right? Next is law. Next is going to be law and lawyers, right? To do the same kind of thing. So again, just putting your head there. I'm not saying that like look out for disruption, but it is really interesting. Okay. Let me stop this example. And now we're going to go to what's on my next list.
Peter, by the way, I find this while you're doing that, I find this absolutely fascinating. So I absolutely.
It took me a lot of
because I see this as such a better, it's not just a cost savings. It's not just more efficient. It is better. It's better.
Okay.
And if it's better for patients and it gets people help that they need, and then imagine, would you like me to page the doctor? I'll send a concise text for the doctor. I have an option to do that. And doctor's like, hey, Becky Jones has a crown that's out. That's what she wants. Do you want her number? Or do you want me to call her on your behalf? Doctor told me to call. Imagine.
Trey, this kind of piggybacks on the things we were even talking about.
Just text that patient that it's not a real big deal and bring her in 2 days or whatever, or the bite adjustment.
But I want to define what you're saying is better. That's what we really need to, like, everybody should understand regardless.
But Dwight, this is first inning. So don't judge. Here's my caveat to that. Before we get into conversation, the toothpaste is not going back in the bottle. This is first inning. It gets better and better and better and becomes the Jarvis over time. And so, Dwight, I do think that it starts to supersede the activities of human performance and what Craig was trying to say. Maybe not today. Do not judge current day. But again, remember the half-life I told you guys about in previous pods.
Yeah, with half-lives of what you see, plus those getting smaller and smaller, the iterations of this are incredible.
How is it not better? As soon as it plugs in, how is it not better?
But that's my point. What you just said is critically important because we all have, if you search through your apps at some point in time, you're in some other country. I know I've been wherever, and I downloaded Google Translate and it was like, boom, 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 and then press play and it does it. It's better in the sense what Craig just said. It's better than the app you can download. It's interactive. It's easy. It takes it to the next level. And if it's already doing that, clearly that's where we're kind of carrying from here. But I mean, as a millennial, I'm someone.
All right, let me ask you this, Dwight.
Grew up knowing that this stuff was coming.
You guys are both dual. Trey, you don't know another language, right?
I speak Spanish.
Okay, you speak Spanish. Okay, so I'm the only. What do we call them when
American? Yeah, if you speak 3 languages, you're trilingual. If you speak 2 languages, you're bilingual. If you speak 1, you're American. So
yeah,
you're American.
I speak 1 language. And
I speak American and I speak English, and y'all better learn my language.
So, okay, so it's not. I can't ask this to y'all because you guys all see the power in speaking multiple languages, right? But like honestly, I looked at my daughter this morning and I was like, I'm not sure like learning a different language is a good use of time anymore.
Well, is learning long division good? I mean, I don't do my tip on paper anymore. It's like calculators have made.
That's a good point. That's
the
a good
memorization.
Point. You got to have
a
base. You got to have a base.
Like,
I hear you.
We had to memorize like 7 times 8, 8 times 8, 9 times 8. Like
Okay, I want you guys to interact with this, and the last examples you have been observing. I need someone to be the interactor in this. Craig, can you? I'm about to make a phone call. Dwight, you want to be the interactor?
Sure.
Okay, ready? And see if this works. Can you guys hear this?
Hi, this is South Bay Dental
Yes.
Office. How may I help you?
Hey there.
Yes,
I thought I'm the interactor.
Hi there. Are you a new patient looking to schedule an appointment or an existing patient?
I'm a new patient.
Great. I'll need your phone number and name to get started. Can you please provide me with that information?
Yeah, my name is Craig Spodak, and my phone number is 561-498-0050.
Thank you, Craig Vodak. Now, let's find a suitable appointment time for you. When are you available next week?
I have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings open.
Perfect. We have availability next Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Great. Your appointment is scheduled for next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Looking forward to seeing you then.
Okay, so latency is a little bit too much. But you just had that as a conversation with a robot, right? And I know we've all got the spam calls recently where it's the same thing. But again, this gets better and better and better. The nuances become more human, the the pauses, the jokes, right? That's what I was giving you example. If you go and watch the examples about with GPT-4.0, the examples of there's a guy and he's actually talking to him and it shows he shows a whoops, I gotta mute this because my phone. He shows you examples of using GPT-4.0 with his camera and he's sitting there talking to her. And he's like, hey, what do you notice about me? And she's like, well, notice you're sitting in a room, like, and there's a weird ceiling above you and you're wearing a blue blazer. And he's like, yeah, cool. And she's like, but your hair looks a little disheveled today. It looks like if you're going for an interview, like he was going for an interview, he's like, I would recommend like kind of looking a little more polished. He's like, yeah, I have some, and it was literally that movie, Her. If you remember that movie, Her, with who was the guy's name? But it was about an AI thing. But it literally is going to become everyone's kind of advocate, trainer, teacher, coach, confidant, whatever. But the fact that it now has access to the camera is crazy. Right. So this opens up a whole lot of stuff. All right. Moving down the list. Do any of you guys, let me rephrase their question. How big of a pain point would you say that writing notes is for your team?
For us, it's massive. For
pain
us,
point.
it's a massive
pain point / time suck.
Yes.
Craig, massive
for us right now.
Trey, Dwight.
Yeah. Huge time suck.
Okay. Dwight?
Absolutely.
I'd say it's the biggest friction point for our providers. And not to mention that I'd say that it's done. You are typically waiting to the end of the day. Most of y'all are, right? Would everyone agree with that? Because you don't have the time. Yeah. So how many of the little nuances and contextual things, and I remember this, are you remembering about the eight conversations you had that you now get to summarize? So there is a new company that is being beta tested with some people that I know and integrating that into the PMS, right? With a microphone and things like that. Let me share the screen. And it's, let's see here. But I love things when we identify a problem and then you find a solution, right? Problem, solution. I just think that's the best way to kind of things. So this is for medicine, but it's a medical scribe, but it is being beta tested for dentistry. And I've kind of just been blown away by it. It just listens to the conversation, no different than some of your Zoom things that you guys have. I mean, or I have, right? Where you just have a Zoom summarization. It gives you bullet points of what happened.
And now it's there as well. Yep.
And now it puts it into SOAP note format, right? But
it could also put the treatment plan together. So Becky,
100%,
the
100%.
easiest thing to do is a flipper here. The best thing to do would be an implant, but I'm concerned about the bone quality you have, and I need a CT scan. Or we could just go with this, and the options, and then boom.
The quality of the notes, Craig, as I've been playing with this, is better than clinicians.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Because your rate limiting step is how much do you wish to write? So listen, if a note is 14 pages long from a medical record standpoint, that's the best note ever. Who just wants to write a 14-page note?
Well, but it's not though. So that's the beautiful thing.
It could be a synopsis.
It's synopsis. It's put in the right. Here's your format. I want to do it in SOAP. I want to do it, or I don't want to do it in SOAP. I want to do it in something else.
But from the court of law, a 14-page note,
100%.
Who cares? It takes up your server, but who cares? Or your cloud.
It does not. That does not take up your server. Text files are minuscule compared to a picture.
There's never been a defense attorney that said, "Hey doc, I wish your note was more concise."
So the problem though, Craig, with notes like that of just transcription notes is this. Someone has to go back and interpret that to find the next image or what there's some data in that notes. It's not just to transcribe it for the heck of it. Okay. You want to be able to go back and someone who's the next provider or front desk is able to look at that very succinctly and say, oh, I see that you discussed this on that date, or I see that this happened, or I see you're going to Disney World, whatever it is. So the bulletproof summary from a clinical standpoint, the extra notes, the summarization done with AI, this is something that will help us all and make our people. I think that's the advantage of AI is making your people. It's not going to disrupt dentistry. It's going to make our jobs easier, faster, better.
And I love that analogy.
That's a great point. Is that using AI to the best of the ability, at least as it stands right now, is to increase work output from people. And when you look at what we've talked about in the past, when you look at how do you take a P&L and start to pull operational levers to squeeze out more net ordinary income, the biggest way to do so on a large scale is increase work output. It's people. You can only fix your supplies by so much. You can only fix your lab by so much. Those are all things that are small, diminishing returns as you start to get into higher and better deals. So
these are productivity tools. They're not going to replace anybody. They're productivity tools. Just like the iPhone has made us all work faster, and email, it's a productivity tool.
I think people dig in with technology because they don't. It's like that quote of replacement or disruption is a bad thing, and we just need to look at it as an augmentation because this can help you supercharge your practice, getting more with less. This was one of the reasons, guys. I actually switched to the platform of CareStack, which you all know from EagleSoft, and I actually have things all in one. And I just want to show you that they are kind of forward advancing with this, and it's cool because another problem we have in our ecosystem was conversations, meaning people would have the front phone team would have conversations that weren't now getting translated into the patient notes, which then no one knows what that had. Like, no one knows that transpired. So similar in the vein of clinical stuff, which I just showed you, CareStack has solved for this with patient note summaries. And it's so cool to have lifted this from my front business team who's already feeling stressed of like having to answer the phone and put in the notes of the calls they had previously in the day. That makes sense?
Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, amazing. Imagine and there's so much stuff that you skip. The rate limiting step is the desire of the human to work hard. So if someone tells you, oh my, I can't wait to come, Becky sent me, I've got a wedding in 2 weeks, my front 2 teeth are a little discolored. I just want to do some whitening, but maybe I want to do veneers. How are we going to record all that?
So it's what it also listens to, Craig, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here and cutting all of you guys off. I'm sorry.
It's great.
I'm sorry. But also it brings, I'm reading my notes here. It looks for words that are high level treatment planning words like crowns or veneers so that it tags those for amazing conversions of being an important call. Like, hey, I'm interested in some veneers. You're like, okay. Like, right. That's a different than I'm interested in some whitening call. So amazing. Let me go to the next example where I'm just seeing where AI is permeating our industry. Let me close this one down. You guys are being great. You guys are being great audience. Just want to tell you.
Guest listeners.
You guys are being great.
That's right.
All right. So another company, do any of you guys use Patient Prism? We do at our practice, but it's another call analytics. So it's, again, listening to the phone call, but then analyzing the conversions so that you can get some data-driven decision-making process about, look at this. This is pretty cool. So you got CareStack kind of analyzing it from a summary standpoint, putting it in notes, identifying this, and then you're able to use this in your phone team It used to be, do you guys remember that I used to pay money for these call tracking services, and it would literally have a human listening to phone calls, not in my organization, but I was paying for my phone conversations to be monitored by a human. Those are gone. Those days are gone. Now I'm able to get the data just completely done and calls analyzed. So in this example right here on the website, it shows 2,700 calls analyzed and opportunities that are available. Why was this not booked? And it just gives you opportunities. Opportunities one. So another way why or where I should say AI is helping us. I know this software is used pretty prevalently in DSOs, Patient Prism by itself. I think we have a pretty a deal with, a good Bulletproof deal if you go to the website too. All right, let me go to one more example, guys.
Hey guys, love you all. This has been amazing, Peter. This lit me up, but I got to jump.
Okay, see you, nerd.
See you guys. Thank you.
Last example, guys. Let me go to my chart. Actually, that was kind of it. I'm going to go over one more thing. I know you and I, Trey and Dwight, we spoke about how we're using it to analyze. I'm using ChatGPT to analyze some of my P&Ls because now there's a attach button. And so you can upload some of your documents and be like, hey, talk to me about what's happened on my P&L the past 12 months or last month. Identify some trends, give me some suggestions. Right now we have our own CFO in a box kind of thing. Are any of you guys done that or played with that tactic at all?
I've played with that a little bit.
How did it? Were you surprised?
I was surprised at the level at which it kind of went through everything and started to suggest things, but it was still a little basic. But
okay.
What I've started doing is I look through my ChatGPT threads that I have that form over time. I need to go back, and as I enter more data in or have more trending stuff, everything's always better and more accurate.
I'm gonna end with this, Trey, because to your point, just like anything, like for example, the adage with lab work, shit in, shit out kind of thing. Yeah. If you're not prompting correctly, there is a science and an engineering to the prompting of making it work well. Sometimes we treat it as like, hey, do this, and there's no context. So I'm going to put up 4 little tips of how to prompt to engineer correctly. Okay. I'm going to quickly go over these. So when you're talking to it as a prompt GPT and you're prompting it, you want to first say this. You want to say, hey, you are expert marketer, dental marketer GPT. Boom. Okay. I want you to, example, summarize this text, write a headline, create an SEO friendly title for this article, whatever it is. Okay. The instruction is next. The context is this. You say then, so step number 3, and you're giving this the instructions. This is your prompt. I want you to focus on teenagers who just got out of braces, for example, right? I want to focus on the content style, for example, whatever you want to kind of create some specificity with the level of content, who's the target market, how you're wanting it presented. I want it in bullet points. I don't want it in bullet points, which was number 4. Number 4 was the output indicator. Can you put this in a table? Can you give me 5 to 10 bullet points, things like that? And then you can have some rules associated with it, meaning you can say, don't give me more than 1,000 character response, things like that. The interesting thing, Trey, about what you just said is you could have said, you could have asked ChatGPT, how can I have improved my prompt and asking you what I needed to ask in this financial document in order to give me a better result. Right? Can you help me modify the prompt that I should have given you so that I can reload it? If that's not crazy to you, and that works amazing, by the way. And then you can also ask it. There's one little thing, little last tip I have here is ask it to ask you questions as supporting details in order to provide a better prompt.
Yeah, I did this with a profit and loss statement of a practice I was considering acquiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked it, I went through kind of a list of prompts that I wanted to how I wanted it to analyze it, and then I attached a profit and loss statement. And then I asked it what other questions, and it asked me for typical metrics or typical industry metrics like what I should be expected so that it can kind of analyze it. So if I gave it that much information, so now I keep building this template of what it is I would want to put in anytime I'm looking the financials of any practice. And I'm just saying, go through it. And then it'll say, well, this might be a little high, this might be a little low, but it starts pulling that data. And that's where I found it. Like, that blew my mind, because it was like telling me how to make my work better, what data it would need to continue to do that. And it's pulling the data, but it's saying with market analytics, what's commonly there, right?
Yeah. And so you and I think we had conversations, and, we were saying how we used it for that. Sometimes we've used it for LOIs and stuff like that. Sure, and just, hey, modify this, change this, check for grammatical errors. Why do I not include? And it's just a cool thing. So soon, Dwight, based on the examples I gave in the beginning of this pod, I think that there will be a lot more interaction, a lot more, instead of prompts, I think there will be dialogue that then gives you the output, right? You just talking to that GPT and says, yeah, that's cool. That's good. But like, hey, fix that. Okay. And then it responds like, okay, how's this look? Right. And you're both visually seeing the screen, meaning it's living in your computer and you're looking at your computer. So, it's just cool. I know I get geeked up about this stuff because, for whatever it is, blessing or a curse, probably more of a curse. I start looking at like the 3 steps down the way in everything I do, right? Like, oh, look at how this could impact dentistry. Oh, look how this could impact my business, investment. Oh, look how, and it takes me down all these tributaries. And sometimes they don't come true. And sometimes that gets me in trouble, but I just felt really called, especially from a timeliness of development, to like for us to get on a pod and bring everyone up to kind of some speed on things, because this just launched last night. This Omni 4.0. I'm sorry, this ChatGPT Omni, which is 4.0. And just think, like, we just had a conversation, guys, like 3 months ago, and like things have just changed so much in 3 months.
It's an astronomical pace. And usually when you see this kind of a pace going on, that we're trying to implement it like within the realms of like HIPAA protection and all the things that the government's going to try to slow down some of that process. Like, that there's going to be a discussion of like, what's allowed to listen to your appointment, what's not, what sign-offs are you going to need for your patients to say the general consent is going to include AI listening in the operatory, because we don't want to do notes and things like that. That's where my brain has gone to see if the regulation and the process is going to keep up. Like, we know what it's like to have like legislature passes that hygienists can do anesthesia in Texas. Well, when that happens, we still have to wait for the state board to output a regulation or a method by which that happens. So it's like, this is going to move much faster
than regulation can keep up with.
Is under our license. And I think that's my only concern, is we're going to be sitting here like, come on, let's go. And we're going to be stuck on some of this stuff. And it's going to rely on some legal prowess to just be able to be
but consent. Do you ask for forgiveness or permission, right? Like,
that's the danger and the blessing.
Yeah. I mean, so anyway, I wanted to, I'm sorry, I felt like I was a speed talker, and the cadence of my voice was way too fast for a pod, but I just wanted to get it in a pretty short amount of time. And just, I guess my parting statement would be, look for the bottleneck in your business, right? Is it notes? Is it calls? Is it conversions? Whatever. Technology is going to provide a solution as long as you have your head up and not down in the sand, kind of thing, right? Pick your head up, create that situational awareness, look for solutions, ideate your way, talk to people who are maybe in tech, talk to people like Dwight and Trey, who can be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. But like, joy comes in solving problems. And I know I gave that example, guys, in the beginning of Dwight, maybe you didn't even hear it, of joy comes from kind of solving problems. I gave that example in the mastermind of me being kind of getting into the weeds and having to fix some issues in my ecosystem. And at first I was like, I don't want to do this. Right. And then I got a lot of pleasure and joy and fulfillment from doing that. Right. Like, I think humans love to solve problems. So
I want, and even those who are weary of all this, like, for those of us who have implemented even AI and x-rays and things like that, yes, you get pushback and all these things, you do. But can I tell you, like, it makes us better. It just does on the long run. And it's not just that it's going to listen to the phone calls and it's going to put in a note automatically for your front desk who's on the phone with somebody and immediately gets another phone call, and that previous note never got in properly. And it's not just that. It also makes us better at our jobs, because right now, if I knew that somebody was taking, all the information I was saying, I might be a little pickier about how I treat the patient on the other side of the phone, because it's about to become recurrent, right? Like, I can fudge the note or change it up and sound, happier and nicer, but like, this is going to give us that context and that detail. And, it's beyond just your phone call is recorded. Like, it's marking it in the medical record that patient was communicated to by this individual. And so I think that's powerful. Just remember, it's going to make us better as well.
I know I said I was not going to say anything else, but I have to now, because you just reminded me of something. So we're writing another, we wrote the Bulletproof book. We're writing another one called The Patient Experience. And it's because it's kind of something that has been, my whole life's work, essentially, and Craig's and y'all's too. But here's where I'm going with this, Dwight. Dwight, aren't you taking flying lessons right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm about to make an AI dental analogy pilot thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that you preload all your frequencies and things like this is why?
For safer.
Okay. So let me give you a little. So your instructor tells you, when in doubt, fly the damn plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so there's all the technology, and I'm sure you're flying at glass panels, G1000 probably. Yeah. So all of that technology is built to reduce the workload of the pilot, so that he doesn't have to remember the 114 things that are going on. He can just fly the damn plane and look up and make sure it doesn't collide with someone. Right. Same thing I think is going to prevail for our the technology like that getting into dentistry. We talked about it from the call center. We talked about it from the note summary. Guess what you get to focus on now? Instead of flying the damn plane, you can now focus on the patient experience and create this remarkable experience where you can lower your marketing costs, where your team satisfaction goes up because they're not overwhelmed, and they're creating this like massive enjoyment for their patients. So it doesn't disrupt our team. It makes things, it gets back to the core of what we do, which is making that person feel special, making them feel taken care of, solving the problem of their dental pain, whatever it is, as opposed to, shit, I didn't do my notes. I got to go, Miss Jones. See ya.
It allows you to become an experience maker.
Yes, Trey. Yes. And it is in direct opposition to what you think, meaning tech disrupts and tech does this and tech does this. No, it's actually going to remove all the monotony of your job, the things you don't want to do.
But that will still be the differentiator, because the truth is a lot of technology makes a lot of people lazy. And so for the people who are going to have astronomical, we're talking about practices that are growing right now versus practices that are not, and the majority are not, versus there's a top 10% that are, and they're blowing it out of the water. They're focused on customer experience, customer process, interactions, relationship, right? And so this tech is going to get better, and it's totally going to augment the people who are willing to do the hard work.
I agree.
And
it's going to be a superpower. It's going to be a superpower.
Because there's a lot of docs that I know, every time I give them a new piece of technology, they're like, oh, now I don't ever even think about calling patients. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's not it. That was not the takeaway.
That was not the takeaway. Like, stop. And so that's the concept, is we have to remember all
Trey,
that.
do you have anything in closing on this? And then I want to close it up.
Well, and I think the big highlights from this to take away are, one, increasing the work output of people themselves, and then two, you have the whole concept of the experience maker, allowing this to be better. So big takeaway, good stuff.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we'll end this pod, and we'll talk to everyone later. Over and out.